special, you're so wonderful. You know you a queen, so never let them get you off the throne. Perfect just the way you are, you best beyond the channel wall. God took his time when he made you. One of a kind, you 100 proof. Top of the line, 911 cool. Stop in the time, you're so magical. God took his time, one of a kind. Top of the line, stop in the time. God took his time, one of a kind. Top of the line, stop in the time. Hey, you are amazing, simply amazing. I just wanna stop and say that you're beautiful. God took his time when he made you.
Hello, and welcome back to Facing Purpose Radio Show. I am your host, Lakia Barnett, and I am so glad to be back before you another great Saturday. And I am truly excited about this show because I have my very special guest who is back to join us again, Miss Tracy Williams. But this time, she has a surprise for everyone. So listen, before we get to her and all the excitement that we have been anticipating and waiting for, I want to go ahead and just say shout outs to a couple of people. I love to do shout outs, and I hope you guys are doing well on this Saturday evening. It's a little brisk in DC. I don't know about where everybody else is, but we know the first day of fall was this past week, so it is seeming like fall is truly kicking in, leaves dropping, temperatures changing. We starting to have to throw on a little bit of jackets and stuff like that, but it's not too bad just yet. So listen. Here's the first shout out to Miss Ivy Caldwell. She is a 5-time Amazon bestseller, you guys. Please go support her. She's super dope. She has so many different books that you guys can choose from and go read. And I want you guys to support her. And you can find her on Facebook under her name, Ivy Caldwell. Also, shout out to Miss Latria Russ, speaker, author, and advocate. Please go support her. She also has this awesome journal that recently came out called The Intimate Conversations with God. Listen, this journal is amazing. If you ever want to write just some affirmations, write scriptures, or just write some daily conversation with God, that is the perfect journal to do that in. You guys, please go find her and support her on Facebook as well. And last but not least, shout out to Evelyn Drayton. She has a lovely song that we have been playing and putting in rotation for weeks, which is doing well. Miracles on My Mind. Listen, you guys want to see her live, you guys need to come in and get your virtual ticket for the Denim and Diamond Gala. Here's the purpose. We're hosting our 3rd annual gala. It will be virtual this year, going down next Saturday at 7 p.m. And she will be one of the virtual performances that will be happening that night. So shout out to Evelyn Drayton for this beautiful song that she has allowed us to be able to play on the show. I can't wait to see her in the midst, along with some other honorees and the rest of the Tears of Purpose family. So if you guys have nothing to do on next Saturday, please join me in the Denim and Diamond Gala. It is $10. All proceeds will go to Tears of Purpose Monologue Ministries to continue doing what we do in the arts, you guys. So go ahead and get your virtual tickets now. And yes, let's stay up with what's going on. So listen, without further ado, we had this young lady on a little ways back on the show, and she came and she blessed us with so much wisdom and so much knowledge. And now she's coming back because she is debuting her single, Blessed. Listen, I had a chance to listen to the song. It is absolutely amazing. I know that the world has been going through a lot of ups and downs. There's probably been so many different things that's been happening in your families, in your own personal lives. But when you listen to this song, it gives you a sense of hope and it gives you a sense of focus. So I want to talk to her about all the behind the scenes things that happen in the process of her making this single and all the great things that she has coming up. We know we're at the end of the year and lots of great things are happening, but we're also going into a new year, so we're going to catch up with her and see how she is doing. So without further ado, let's introduce Miss Tracy Williams. Welcome back to Face and Purpose. Hey, Tracy.
Hi, Lakia. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me on the show again. It's really great to be back, excited to be here, and it's wonderful to be talking to you again.
Yes, ma'am. I am excited about that. So, Tracy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody? Just give everybody just a little background history on you before we start jumping into all this great excitement that you got going on.
Well, as I said before on the previous show, my name's Tracy Williams, and I write under the pen name of Tracy DW. And you know, I'm quite versatile. I do a lot of writing. You know, some of you may know who have listened to me back in January. I do podcasts and I write stories. But one of the things that is actually my first love is writing songs, and that's pretty much how I got into writing. I started writing songs at a really young age, started experimenting with lyrics and melodies, you know, just from, you know, influences, from my musical influences as a child growing up. And, you know, it has just stayed with me, that ability to write and sing melodies and, you know, just do simple compositions has stayed with me right the way through my early teens and into adulthood. And, you know, back in 2018, I decided that after, you know, spending much of my teens and early 20s, you know, singing live, doing live performance singing and in choirs and so forth, I decided to take the leap and go on a journey and begin it as an independent artist. So I started to look for producers, and I started the journey of recording my first songs back in and releasing them back in 2020. So this is my third single that's been released, called Blessed, and you know, I'm really expecting great things from it. It is, you know, quite an inspirational song that I've written under pretty interesting circumstances, and it's had an interesting journey as well. So I'm happy to be here on the show with you, Lakia, and all your listeners, and just to let you know a little bit more about the background behind it. So that's me.
Yes, I love it. You guys, this is very exciting. I'm always excited when I hear about people birthing out new things. I think I was just talking to some of the people in my ministry about being in the waiting room. And I want to ask you tonight, Miss Tracy, did you feel like you were in the waiting room before this project was birthed out? And what I mean by the waiting room is, you know, not the average. You know, we have the waiting room when you go in the hospitals and you have to wait to be seen. And this particular waiting room that I am addressing is like before you birthed this project out, did you feel like you were waiting for a long period of time before you had a chance to go into making this project? Like, what was your wait time before you knew it was a green light to go ahead and do this now?
Well, it's funny you should talk about birthing and waiting rooms, Lakia, because that's exactly how I view and experience the process of my own songwriting. Writing songs for me is slightly different to podcasting and writing stories. I really do view my songs as giving birth, as you so described it. And, you know, I suppose the wait has been on two levels, really. I believe in some ways I've probably come to being a recording artist, I'd say later on in my life. You know, I'm not in my, you know, 20s or my 30s anymore. I'm a bit older. And I've spent a long time really performing live in churches and playing in groups during my youth time. And, I'd written a lot of songs. A lot of the songs that I'm actually recording now and planning to release now are actually songs that I had written, back in my teens and early 20s. And, you quite rightly described it. It has really been a waiting process for me, almost as if the whole process has been like a flower just waiting to bloom. So on one level, it has been a bit of a wait. I have been in the waiting room. And in another level, with this particular song, Blessed, I had written the song to celebrate a milestone in my life, to celebrate a significant birthday. And, I was just reflecting over all the good things that I had, all the wonderful friends and family and, as well as the simple things in life. And, I just felt such a lot of gratitude in my heart about all the things that I've had. And, there've been some, not so good experiences in my life, in the same way that we've all had, not so good experiences. And I just wanted to write a song that really celebrated, the great experiences that I've had. And, despite everything that has gone on, in my life, good and bad, I just wanted to express, that gratitude and just make a statement that, despite what goes on in our life, the grace of God is something that is positional in our life. Being blessed is something that, is a positional thing. It's something that's fixed. It's something that will always stand. And, it's a way of saying, well, regardless of, our faults and imperfections, God's grace and God's favour and God's love towards us is everlasting, and it's ever present, and it's fixed. And, it was that idea that inspired me to write the song. So, yeah, in a way, I have been waiting on two different levels. One in terms of the time scale for my recording and singing career to really begin and take off, and in another way with this particular song, because I was actually in the studio in 2019 getting ready to record the song, and then COVID came along in early 2020, and the whole world went into lockdown, and there was a delay. So in another sense, the song was put on hold. The song was put in a waiting room for several months, and it wasn't until the end of last year that I actually got an opportunity to get back into the recording studio and work with my producer on it. So it has been a bit of a journey, but I'm glad that the journey's come to an end, and I've got a beautiful newborn baby to present to the world.
Yes. It's very exciting. And thank you for being so transparent, about your birthing process. It's normally never easy when you are birthing out something new. And it's never easy when you're in the position where you're waiting either. And I think a lot of people can vouch and say, hey, I've been in this waiting room, just waiting and waiting for my turn patiently. With some things that a lot of people are waiting for God to do. So I pray that what you said was motivation and very helpful to the listeners on tonight. And Tracy, let everyone know where you are calling in from tonight.
I'm calling in from the UK. I live in Watford in the UK, and it is actually almost 20 past midnight over here. So, I am somewhere tucked up, warm and comfortable. But yeah, it is quite a time difference, obviously, between where you are and where I am. But, all's well, and it's great. It's really good to be on the air, on your show, and for everybody, all your followers, to be listening in.
Yes. This is a big deal. I've never been to the UK, Tracy. Never been to the UK and have heard so much about this. But it just seems like God keeps connecting me to everybody that's away, far, far away from where I am. I'm just a little old Washington, D.C. girl, and I've never been to the outer skirts like that. And I am just over here amazed, at how God does things and set things up. I've never stepped foot in the UK, but yet I have connected with you, and then my other brother in Christ, he's from New Zealand. I'm like, this is super dope. So I am truly ecstatic about that. I heard the UK is the it place to go, though, Tracy. Yes.
Well, maybe it's a sign. Maybe this is a sign that, it's time for you to get your passport and pack your bags and come over and experience what the UK has to offer. It's been very, very eventful, over here, as you know, because, we've just, our monarch of 70 years has passed away, and, we had the state funeral for her, so... I'm sure in the States, you know all about it. It's been broadcast all over the world for the past 10, 11 days. So it's been very eventful.
Yes, I was getting ready to say to you, I know of the Queen's passing and things like that. How did that affect you? I know it's a lot of news that comes across the screen all the time, and we hear about so many people that are passing away. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, how are you feeling since all of that has happened?
I've never been a staunch supporter of the royal family, but I appreciate them as being integral to British history and to world history. I do view them with respect, and it has been quite a surreal experience to, experience the passing of, quite an iconic individual who has very much been a part of this nation's life for 70 years, almost a century. And, I did a podcast recently about it, and one of the things that I said was, and it sounds quite trite, but it is quite profound in that, it's a new era, and, we've never experienced having a king on the throne, something as simple as that, which, other countries that, might still, have sovereignty, may very well have a king and may very well take that for granted. But, I think with this transition that is going on, I think it's going to be very different. I think it's going to be, something that's going to be quite fascinating to see that contrast in energy. And of course, our king that has recently ascended to the throne is much older and, much more experienced in the ways of the world than, his mother was when she first came to the throne, because when she came to the throne, she was a young 25-year-old, and had just been newly married and had 2 children. And, she had her whole life to grow into and evolve into that role, whereas, with our new king, who's come to the throne at such a mature age, he's had quite a different experience of life and of the world, and he will have something very different to bring to the British throne. And it will be interesting to see what his approach to monarchy will be. So, we're excited. We're also, going through a change with our government. We've had a lot of change quite recently, a new Prime Minister, a new government, a new cabinet. We've just had a new budget, which, hasn't gone down very well with much of the population. But, I just think in all these things that have been going on, a time of real transition, I think. is happening. And I just think, you know, my song, putting out this song, releasing this song at this time, is quite timely. It's quite timely because, you know, people need to be uplifted. People need to feel that there is hope, you know, and that, you know, through it all, you know, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is going to be light at the end of the tunnel. There is going to be that, you know, that hope and that strength that is going to buoy us up and keep us going and keep us motivated. Because, you know, being blessed is not a state of mind. It's a positional thing. It's something that, you know, we know that we'll always have favour with God. God will always love us. God is faithful to us and will never leave us. And he will carry us through this difficult period in time and, you know, these challenges in our lives.
Yes, thank you so much for breaking that down because, again, you know, with the Queen's passing, like you were saying, you know, everybody needs some kind of uplifting and some type of, you know, positivity around this time. But I wanted to ask you, you know, how was this affecting you and where you guys are over there since all of this has happened? But thank you so much for your transparency, you know, on the whole subject matter. So I know we will definitely be keeping you guys in prayers as you guys are transitioning and shifting and, you know, putting new things in place. Because it's never easy, you know, when those things are taking place in your hometown, in your city, states, whatever. You know, we just have to, you know, be aware of what's happening when these things are happening so that we can shift when it's time to shift. So thank you so much. And I do agree that your song, just the title in itself, Blessed, people need to understand that they are blessed, you know, in whatever situation. We're not just talking about, you know, with materialistic things. We're not just talking about those things. You're blessed to even open up your eyes every day. You know what I'm saying? And God is calling your name so you can get up and do it again, you know. So your song has many meanings to it as far as the name of it. So we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to hear the debut of Miss Tracy Williams' song, Blessed. So we will be right back after this.
Without the vision, their eyes slowly die. Where are the people with heart full of courage? People with passion to reach the unreached. Oh, where are the pillars of faith? Spirit-filled preachers and prophets that pray. Where are the lighters who stands unafraid? People directed to go where God lives. Yes, I know it, I wish I would do, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm the one who will love God. Yes, I know it, I wish I would do, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't people who seek sin. Without the vision, their eyes slowly dies. Well, I don't faithful with heart full of courage. People with passion to reach the unreached. Oh, where are the pillars of faith? Spirit-filled preachers and prophets I pray. Where are the lighters who stands unafraid? People to go, yeah, to go where God
All right, and we are back. back again. Listen, that was my good friend, Mr. Kinea Perez from New Zealand. We did a video to this particular song, not even a couple of weeks back. It is doing amazing, and we are ecstatic that he asked us to do it, and we had a ball. The ladies from Tears of Purpose Monologue Ministry, shout out to you guys, but also shout out to him all the way from New Zealand. So we had an amazing time doing that video for him. And so we are here with Tracy Williams. And now, Miss Tracy, do you want to go ahead and introduce your single to everyone?
Well, I'm Tracy DW, and this is my new single called Blessed. I hope you enjoy it.
Yes. Lord, I love it. I love it. So Tracy, as I was listening to the song, where do you remember your whole recording process? I always like to ask these questions. Like, what was the recording of it like? Did you record like in the evening? Did you go into a studio? Tell us about the recording day. Like, were you nervous, full of butterflies, or what? Like, what was going on that day?
Well, I mean, you have to understand that first and foremost, that the whole recording process took a very long period of time. When I put out my first 2 tracks, I think the recording period, it was about 3 or 4 months in total. But, due to COVID and due to lockdown, it was very frustrating because, we started recording the song in late 2019. And then 2020 came, COVID came along as well, and lockdown came, and it interrupted the recording process. And in some ways, it was unfortunate because, I'd lost that momentum completely with the whole recording process. And I was, sitting at home for long periods of time, and, that was when other things started to happen, and the podcasts and the stories came along. And, in a sense, my music, I was forced in some ways to put it on the back burner, but because I was working on this particular song, it was really frustrating to have to put a halt on the process that you've just started. And but what that did for me is that the song actually became an anthem. It became an anthem of joy. It became an anthem of praise. It became something that really helped to sustain me through that period of time where, there was great uncertainty and great instability around the world. And I was frustrated because I felt that the song had been delayed. It was like a delayed birth, and, it was a difficult period of time for me not to be able to create musically. But, as time went on, I managed to resume recording later last year. But I'd realised that there were, I'd overcooked things in my head. I think that if the recording process hadn't been interrupted, I think I would have just gone on and recorded it, and it would have been released, obviously, at some point last year. But because the recording process had been delayed, I felt that there was a downside to it, in that I began to overthink the song. I began to embellish the song to a point where it was, it was I was beginning to lose focus of the original message in a way, and focused a little bit too much on overcooking things like the melody, and, I wanted to put harmonies in. And so, by the time lockdown, had been lifted and I'd gone back into the studio, I'd gone back with all these ideas to my producer. Look, I want to do it like this, I want to do it like that, I want to embellish it a bit more. And, my producer is really, really good. He's a very mild-mannered, quite laid-back guy, but he's also very, very brutal and very honest. And he's the kind of person who really has my interests at heart. He really wants to bring out the best in every single song that I present to him. And, he made me realise that, look, I've had a long time in lockdown. I've had a lot of time to think about the song. But at the end of the day, the song's strong enough to speak for itself. The lyrics are strong enough, the melody's strong enough to hold its own. And, I'd recorded it, and then I had to go back again and realise what I had done. I'd overcooked the song. And then I had to go back to basics in a way, and then go back into the studio in January, February sometime, and then redo the lyrics and just strip it back to, the simple format that I had originally written it in. And, I felt much better about it. I felt I'd done it justice. And, by the end of February, March, it was ready. It was ready to go. So, the recording process wasn't as straightforward as my first two songs. And, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself as a writer, as a songwriter, and, how songwriting and the whole process of recording is very different. It's a very different discipline to singing live. So, yeah. that's the process. That's the structural process of recording Bless. It was very different, and I learned a lot from it.
Yes, it sounds amazing. I often tell people you just never know what somebody's going through behind the doors. You guys see the finished product, but you never know, what was endured during the process. But it came out beautifully. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that everybody that's listening enjoyed it as well. Like I said, it has a very upbeat tempo. It just puts you in the mood of, yes, like this is just, let me turn this on if I want to be happy and just flying all around the house or whatever. This is just one of those songs that are very uplifting. So we thank you for having this in your belly to be able to come before the world. So when is the single actually set to drop?
The single is set for release on Friday, this coming Friday, the 30th of September. It will be available on all streaming platforms, all listening platforms.
Yes, great. So you guys are hearing it. Listen, I'm excited. So September 30th, we don't want to hear nothing. Y'all get to all these streaming platforms and go support her immediately, because guess what? We'll support all the rest of these people, and we need to just give love and show love where it's due. And this is a true honor. This really is a true honor to be able to celebrate with you, Miss Tracy, on your debut. And so any plans after this drops? What is your initial plan after that? Like, what's going to happen? Like, I know we're at the end of the year, last quarter of the year, literally. We're walking into October, and I just cannot believe it. Every time somebody say October is Saturday, I'm like, no way. So it's just like, it's just exciting, but it's also like, oh my God, we are literally at the end of the year. What is next for you, Tracy?
Well, yeah, I mean, as you said, we're almost at the end of the year. I can't believe it either. I kind of think, where has the time gone? But finally, this single is coming out, and I'm looking forward to just further promoting it, particularly on my online platforms. I am thinking about doing a project called the Video Diaries, where I do plenty of or lots more live performances, particularly online, and I will be looking to perform live in the UK early on next year. So things are in the pipeline amidst all the other things that I am doing. I am quite busy doing other things and juggling a full-time job as well. So it is quite challenging, but I'm aiming to get back into live performing. That's one of the main things in 2023. So look out for me and enjoy the song.
Yes, indeed. I know for sure we are going to definitely put this in rotation on the show, because I think that people just need to hear some uplifting things. And so we look forward. Let us know about any online performances that you do. Because my next question was going to be, are you going to drop a video for this? Because I'm telling you, sitting up here listening to it, I'm like, I would love to see visuals behind that. Like, that would be super dope. So is that on the agenda as well?
Yeah, it's definitely on the agenda. Definitely on the agenda.
Okay, that's super cool. Okay, so listen, I am excited. I speak blessings over you, Tracy, that your project will do well, and that it will do well to the people that are needing to hear it and that have been waiting to hear it. And I thank God for your obedience, for going in and doing this track, and it's just amazing. It's just really amazing, and I'm so honored to be able to be one of the ones to hear it and to release it over the airwaves. And so you guys make sure that you please go and support her. She is a dear. She's full of wisdom. She's full of charisma. There's so many other things I can say about Tracy, but she really is authentic, and we don't see too much of that in this day and time. So we thank you for just being who you are in your creativity. I love the arts anyway, so that's right up my alley. When I hear stuff like that, I really truly do get excited about that. So Tracy, let everybody know how they can connect with you from here on out.
It's very simple. TracyDWmusic.com is my website, and you can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, at TracyDWmusic, and also DW_Tracy on Twitter. So those are all my social media platforms, as well as YouTube as well, TracyDWmusic.com. So it's nice and easy.
Good. Thank you so much. And listen, I'm going to be reposting this show on my page also as well, so you guys can hear this song over and over and over, because I have been promoting promoting the flyers and things forever, and I'm going to continue to still do it. So you guys make sure that you share it when you see it going across my Facebook and social medias. Please make sure that you share this, because we want to spread the love. And this song is full of love and full of excitement, and we want to help Tracy to meet all of her goals with this song. So Tracy, thank you so much for joining me tonight and coming back on the show all the way from the UK. And I am definitely going to be keeping up, keeping in touch with you and seeing how everything is going. But I will definitely be promoting it on my end. So thank you so much for joining me on tonight. Is there any last words you want to say to the listeners tonight before you leave?
Just thanks to everybody for your support. Thanks for listening in on the show. And, enjoy the single and stay blessed.
Thank you so much, Tracy. So thank you guys so much for joining me on tonight. Listen again next weekend. I will be live at the Denim and Dynam virtual event on October the 1st, 7 p.m. Please, if you want to be in the virtual room, we have some lineups ready. We are excited to be honoring women who have came forth and told their story, and also honoring some other people who are doing great things in the community and all over the world. So we are excited about that. So please come and join me. Again, the virtual tickets are only $10. And if you just want to donate, you can do so either by going to Cash App, $ Here's the Purpose, or you can go to Givelify and look up the name Here's the Purpose Monologue Ministries, and you can give there as well. But make sure that you get in the room, get your virtual tickets, and we're only a couple of days away. We have our lovely host. Her name is Amelia Thompson, who will be hosting this grand event. So we thank you guys for listening on tonight. Shout out to everyone who's been supporting Facing Purpose, and I will see you guys on the next time, okay? Shout out to my engineer, Alan. Love him so much for always putting up with me and all these radio and TV shenanigans. All right, y'all, so it's been real. So have a great night and stay blessed. Good night.
You're beautiful when they see. Out of control, you'll see. You came up to can't knock you down. You an ego and you're sore now. I see you, yeah, you glowing, you're rolling, so lethal, yeah, explosive commotion. Walk in the room and you'll freeze, yeah. You stop in time when you leave. S-P-E-C-I-A-L, you special, you're so wonderful. You know you a queen, so never let them get you off the throne. Perfect just the way you are, you blessed beyond the channel wall. God, took his time when he